In the next 5 minutes, we're going to build a small Python pipeline that takes raw text and pulls out two things: named entities and key phrases. We'll use Azure AI Language, the natural language service inside Azure AI Services. By the end, you'll know how to provision the resource, wire up the client with the right authentication, call both named entity recognition and key phrase extraction, rate the response correctly, and verify it works. No model training, no fine-tuning. These are pre-built models you call over HTTPS. Let's set it up end-to-end. Here's the shape of it. Your Python application sends text to an Azure AI language resource. That resource exposes the text analytics endpoints. We'll secure the connection with Key Vault for the key, or better, use a managed identity so no secrets live in code. For production, you'd typically front the calls from an Azure function or container app rather than a laptop. The language resource does all the inference and returns structured JSON back to your app. Nothing is stored on the service side by default. It's a stateless request-response call, which keeps the design simple. First, create the resource. You can create a standalone language resource or a multi-service Azure AI Services resource if you want one key across vision, speech, and language. For just this task, the single language resource is cleaner. Pick a region close to your users, because latency matters on per document calls. Choose the standard pricing tier, but check the current Azure docs for the free tier limits and per thousand record pricing, since those change. Once it's deployed, grab two things from the keys and endpoint blade, the endpoint URL and an access key. We'll feed both into the client next. Now the code. Install the package azure-ai-textanalytics. Create a text analytics client by passing your endpoint and credential. For local development, you can use the access key, but in Azure, I strongly prefer default Azure credential with a managed identity, so there's no secret to rotate. The client exposes both methods we need. Call recognize entities to get named entities, and extract key phrases for the main talking points. Both accept a list of documents and return results in the same order. Here you can see a single call passing two documents and printing the categorized entities and confidence scores. Understanding the response is where people trip up. Each entity comes back with text, a category like person, location, organization, or date time, an optional subcategory, and a confidence score between 0 and 1. Filter on that score. I usually drop anything below about 0.5, but tune it to your data. Key phrases are simpler, just a flat list of strings with no scores. Critically, every result object also carries an is-error flag. Always check it per document, because one bad document, say one that's too long, fails on its own without throwing for the whole batch. Two operational decisions matter here. First, batch your documents. The API accepts up to a limited number of documents per request and a maximum character count per document. So chunk large text and send batches rather than one call per sentence. This cuts latency and cost dramatically. Second, mind the limits. There's a per document size cap and a requests per second throttle on each tier. Build in retry with exponential backoff. The SDK does some of this for you. For high volume, prefer the asynchronous begin analyze actions method to run entities and key phrases in a single long-running operation. Check the docs for the exact current limits. Now confirm the whole thing runs. Send a known sentence with an obvious entity, like a company name and a city, and assert the categories come back as organization and location. Check that confidence scores look reasonable. Then test an error path. Send an empty or oversized document and confirm your is-error handling catches it instead of crashing. Finally, watch the metrics blade on the resource to see successful calls and any throttling. If entities, key phrases, and clean error handling all light up, your pipeline is solid. So that's the full build. provision a language resource, wire up the text analytics client with a managed identity, call recognize entities and extract key phrases, read the categorized response, handle per document errors, and batch for scale. The single most important habit to take away is this: always batch your documents and check the is error flag on each result. That one pattern is the difference between a demo and something that survives production traffic. Pricing and service limits shift over time, so confirm the current numbers in the Azure docs before you size your workload. Now go build it. If this helped, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next video.